most sourcing platforms, and this is where AI comes into play, you might type in, I'm looking for my next VP of marketing who needs to have B2B SaaS marketing experience. It's not organized in any means. So the best candidate might be on page 47 out of 96 possible pages that you have candidates in. And that's not really helpful as you're going page by page by page to try to find the best people. So you should be able to rank the very best fit candidates for that role.
Initiating becoming a hiring machine sequence in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, it's Sam Keenly, and welcome back to Becoming a Hiring Machine. This is the show dedicated to fixing recruitment by going beyond saying what needs to change and instead teaches you how to make that change. Today, we've got a quick Tactical Tuesday episode ahead of us, but before we get into that, I just want to tell you a little bit about the show. Essentially, we have shows within the show here. Some days we have interviews with industry thought leaders and others who are shaking up the space, while other days we cover things like trending topics. Stop by every Tuesday like today for a Tactical Tuesday episode where we go deep on how to do something that's going to help you drive better results in your day-to-day. Some days we open up for Q&A, and occasionally you get a mic drop episode from Matt where he shares something he's been thinking about within the recruitment space and wants you to know. As a reminder, if you like the content that we share here on the show, make sure that you subscribe for more. All right, today's Tactical Tuesday, we've been on this trend of, 2025, what's new, what's different, what should we be aware of? And so as I was trying to think of how do we blend a little bit more of that with Tactical Tuesday, what you all are here for, I went over to Perplexity and I just popped in a quick query. What's something that most agency recruiters are looking to learn in 2025? I was using this to get ideas, see what's the market's kind of saying, what articles are coming up with, what it's crawling across social forums, everything like that. And what came back surprised me, but at the same time, it really didn't surprise me. So I'll read part of the answer to you. And essentially what it said was, in 2025, most external recruiters are looking to master artificial intelligence and machine learning tools to enhance their recruitment processes. AI is becoming increasingly crucial in talent acquisition with the ability to streamline workflows, reduce time to hire, and improve decision making. Recruiters who understand and utilize AI-powered tools will be able to do the following 3 items: automate repetitive tasks, improve candidate sourcing, and utilize predictive analytics for better hiring decisions. Pretty interesting stuff, right? And so part of me is just like, man, this sounds right up our alley with really what we're seeing is the future of recruitment, how AI, machine learning, all of that is really growing off the back of an ATS. And the ATS it's not enough anymore. Yes, it will always be the backbone of the core, but this is where the future of talent intelligence and everything else really grows from. So what I was interested more in is, okay, so you said that there are 3 different things that recruiters really focus on. Again, they were automating repetitive tasks, improve candidate sourcing, and utilizing predictive analytics for better hiring decisions. So I was like, okay, perfect. For today's Tactical Tuesday, let's get into those 3 items and talk about how you can do some of those. So let's start with the first one, automating repetitive tasks. So the biggest ones that I'm thinking of here, number 1 is scheduling, whether that's with a candidate, with a client. How can you, whether it's using a simple scheduling tool like Calendly, whether it's getting an AI tool that can help with it, but that's low-hanging fruit. Note-taking, that's another one that you often see me looking down during all these podcasts. I take notes in my notebook. It's how I remember things, but during interviews, during intake, anything else, you want to be present. You want to be engaged in the conversation. And that's where the rise of note-taking tools has been absolutely phenomenal, because what it does is you can have the conversation, you can have these AI prompts listening on the back end or just through the recordings. And then what you do is you have your common questions, your items that you want to get into. What that does is it feeds into these note-taking apps. And then you can have prompts on the back end that are able to sift through and pull in, okay, what was asked, what was the response, and then depending on what you want to do with that information, you can include it in follow-ups. You can move that over to your ATS in order to have the answers to those questions or append it to other items that you'd be using it for. So that's a huge one that I'm seeing. That's an easy one to automate. And then candidate status updates. So this is another low-hanging fruit that I like to do, and we're even hiring for some roles right here. One of the things that I do is candidates like to stay in the loop. They don't like to feel ghosted. We talked about that a lot here. I'm sure you all have heard the same sentiment as well. And so what I do is I just have this outbound sequence set up so that after a week, anyone that's in the pipeline, hey, just letting you know, here's where we're at with the hiring process. Stay tuned. We'll be in touch. Or here's what next steps are. We plan on doing this at X date. But this way they're always informed. And again, it's me doing a simple sequence. I'm not doing this one by one. It's automatically going out at certain dates. So those are 3 quick ones for automating repetitive tasks. Next item was improving candidate sourcing. So this is a big one. And the main theory or the main strategy that I like to recommend here is that you really should be fishing in more than one pond. You shouldn't be using one source to gather all of your candidates. So whether that's just LinkedIn, whether that's just a certain job board, whether it's, you can name any tool, whether it's just Loxo. Again, it's like you should go beyond Loxo if that's it. But you should be fishing in more than one pond. So that's the easiest one that I would say right off the bat. But from there, how can you do that once you are looking and have some good candidates in the mix or want to be? So most sourcing platforms, and this is where AI comes into play, you might type in, I'm looking for my next VP of marketing who needs to have B2B SaaS marketing experience. It's not organized in any means. So the best candidate might be on page 47 out of 96 possible pages that you have candidates in. And that's not really helpful as you're going page by page by page to try to find the best people. So this is where AI really comes into play. You should be able to rank the very best fit candidates for that role. So that would be looking at things like, okay, what is the role that you're hiring for? Who is the hiring company? What's their makeup? And then what's the job description? So what are the specifics that you need for this? And this is where a sourcing tool, an ATS tool, or Loxo, hint, hint, wink, wink, can do this and does do this. So it ranks those candidates. So instead of showing up this great candidate on page 47, this is showing up as candidate number 1 in that list and slowly working its way down. That is intelligent sourcing. So that's another way. That equally applies for inbound candidates. So yes, you still will post on job boards. You might be an in-house TA person, but with the rise of Easy Apply, it is an inundation of candidates that you're getting, and the very best inbound candidate might be on page 26. You don't know. So being able to rank them, again, based on what your company needs, what the role expectations are, having them sort 1 through whatever the number is, that makes things way easier. Again, that's perfect use for AI as part of talent intelligence. And another way to improve candidate sourcing is through the readiness score, what we'd like to call readiness score. But really what it is when you think about this, usually many sourcers are looking at, okay, not just does this person have the expertise, the skills for the role, but if they just got a job at this place 3 months ago, they're probably not looking for change. And so this readiness score, what it does is we look at things like, how much do we think this person is ready for change? What does their growth trajectory look like? And then it factors that in. So if you don't want to do just by best fit, but if you want to look at something like this, you might recognize, or the AI will recognize for you, hey, this person, let's keep with the VP of marketing role. This person has been a director of marketing for the past 2 years at this company. Before that, they were a senior manager of marketing for 2 years. Before that, they were a team lead of marketing for 2 years. So through logic, you can start to see, okay, this person, they have a clear growth trajectory. They do like to take on more responsibilities as time goes on. So it's probably going to say, hey, this person's probably prime time to reach out to them. They might be open to exploring, hearing about what this opportunity is, because this is about the time when they usually start to look to take on more responsibilities. So that's another way where candidate sourcing can easily be improved with AI. The final one, kind of similar, but utilizing predictive analytics for better hiring decisions. So this kind of gets into that last point by using AI to understand who might be ready for change. So this is looking at things like based on how long they've been in their previous role, and also leveraging like what's common for that specific role or for that specific industry. Some have shorter tenures, some have longer tenures. So the AI being able to ingest and understand that, looking at the individual specific job history and their tenure as it relates to the growth trajectory. So that example earlier I was talking about, every 2 years or so. For some, that might be shorter stints. For some, that might be longer stints, but that's a perfect example of predictive analytics to help you make better hiring decisions. And then the last one that we like to get into, and this is one that we also recommend that people who are sourcing for candidates do, is look at what roles lead well into a growth role to go and source from, instead of those just being purely lateral moves. So what I mean by this is predictive analytics. VP of marketing example we were just talking about a moment ago. Instead of looking for, if you go to most sourcing platforms, you'll type in VP of marketing and B2B and SaaS, whatever other criteria you want. That's going to pull up people who already are in those positions, VP of marketing at those types of companies. But we both know is many people, unless you're at the very senior level, you're not going to take a lateral move. Usually it is a growth type opportunity. So what you really want to be looking at is directors, senior directors, those types of individuals. And so what you can do is you can go and look at, okay, what is the typical makeup of a VP of marketing? You can start to break out, okay, what are the titles that typically lead into that position? What is the most common industry? What types of company sizes, experiences? You could even look at university degrees, where they go and study, countries, states, whatever it is. This is where you can leverage all that information. If you are looking to be geolocated in a certain area, you're looking to go to a career fair, this can be any seniority level that you want to get into. But this is a very powerful way to also use predictive analytics to get ahead of some of those types of rules, especially when you do want to look at making those growth opportunities instead of trying to only fight for lateral-based moves. So hopefully that was interesting to you. This was a fun little rabbit hole for me to go down and think about things that are, again, most exciting to external recruiters heading into this year. So hope you enjoyed this one, gave me some food for thought. And if you have any questions or follow-ups on it, let me know. But as we wrap, Becoming a Hiring Machine is a production of Loxo. If you like this episode, but you're not sure where to go next, we do have a link to a similar one, and you can find that in the show notes in the description of your favorite podcast streaming platform, as well as on our website. We do have full video episodes available on YouTube, and if you have questions, send them to us, podcast@loxo.co. And lastly, if you love this episode, please make sure to leave us a quick rating in your podcast streaming platform. It only takes you 3 seconds, but it's going to help other recruiters like you to find us. So, all right, everyone, that's the show. That was another great Tactical Tuesday episode. Until next time, bye, y'all.